Hello guys, welcome to our new video tutorial series of Android Studio. And in this video tutorial series, we will explain about how Android application development work with Android Studio, how you make an app on Android Studio using Android application development, and how Jetpack Compose works with Android Studio. So let's start. Introduction to Android application development. So what is Android application development? As you already know about my previous videos about the Android Studio, so I will explain you about this. Android application development is the process of creating software applications that specifically run on Android devices like smartphones, tablets. These app can do all sort of things from showing the weather, allowing you to play games, or helping with tasks like shopping, fitness, or you can make any kind of app like messaging app or gaming app or designing app. It's up to you. So major devices that runs on Android operating system right now is smartphones, tablets, smart TVs. All the companies have the smart TVs right now. They are using the Android Studio, Android application development on their. They are using all the Android apps that you use on your phones can also be used on your smart TVs as well. Also the smartwatches as well. They can monitor your fitness tracking, your they can also track your running. They can also track your heartbeat using the multiple apps on Android Studio. So at every like most of the IoT devices has the Android operating system. So what is why is Android application development is so important that it's used by most of the IoT things nowadays. So Android is the most popular mobile operating system in the world right now with the billions of devices using it. Apple was the second one. OS was the second one. So Android was the first one because like most of the companies using Android and the other like only the Apple uses the OS. The most popular companies like Samsung, Huawei now it's they are making their own Android Studio. Like they are not making apps on Android application development, uh, but the like most of the big companies like Samsung and the previous companies like China companies all are using Android application development in their phones. So because of this, building apps of Android allow developers to reach large number of people. You know, business games, social media platforms, and many services use apps to connect with users. So learning how to create Android app is a valuable skill nowadays in a computing world. So as I told you about the Jetpack in my introduction, and what is Jetpack Compose in modern Android Studio. So, Jetpack Compose is a modern toolkit introduced by Google for building Android user interfaces like UI in a simple, faster, and more intuitive way. So it replaces the older XML based method of designing UI, allowing developers to write less code and focus more on building beautiful and interactive layouts. So, like in previous days, people used to create on websites when they are making the websites, they're using the HTML, CSS code and they have to, write all the HTML, CSS code, but now they are using the Bootstrap. you know they already like there are so many built-in UI in Bootstrap. You just need to include the Bootstrap file into your website and you are good to go. You don't need to worry about the HTML, CSS. Yeah, you can do customization, but you don't need to write the full code from the start. You don't need to remember the tags. So that's a modern development. So same with the Android Studio. You don't need to write the long XML files. You don't need to remember the tags. So the Jetpack Compose will do this for you. It can, customize you can customize the UI as well. Like the basic code should be written on the UI. You don't need to write the XML files. Okay. So with Compose, you can directly create UI elements in Kotlin code, which reduce complexity and makes your app development more efficient. Okay. So this is Android Jetpack includes architecture, UI, behavior, foundation. In architecture, you see like data binding, lifecycle, navigation, paging is include view mode, work manager, and in foundation, app combat. Android multi-dex test on the other end, UI, animation, transition, emoji, fragments, layouts, and the behavior is like download manager, media and playback, permissions, notification. So everything that should be used in the Android Studio development is available in the Android Jetpack Compose. So you don't need to worry about including things from your own. It provides you everything. So in my video tutorial series, what I will explain. So the basic of Android application development, setting your environment and creating your first app, the importance of Android app development and how it powers everyday life through mobile apps. Okay, Jetpack Compose and how it simplifies UI design and modern development. Also, the hands-on demo to show how to use Jetpack Compose to simpler create the interface for your Android application. So, what is Jetpack Compose? Jetpack Compose is a modern UI user interface toolkit introduced by Google for building Android apps specifically. It helps developers create application interfaces more easily by using Kotlin code instead of traditional XML layout files. So you don't need to like write long XML files. You just need to write a simple Kotlin code, and you can design your UI with the Kotlin code. So Jetpack Compose is a declarative, meaning you describe how the UI should look like based on the current state of your app, and Compose take care of everything automatically when the state changes. So it's like in your Android application there are many screens and the many pages can be. So you can design the every page, like you can set the page like if on the starting screen their UI should be look like this, and once the user enter their credentials like their username or password, once they logged in the screen changes to other screen. So it will handle this as well. You don't need to design the every page of your Android Studio. It just changes the state and the information will be changed on your screen. So Jetpack Compose versus XML file. So these are the some benefits and the pros and cons. You can see that in Jetpack Compose, less code. On the other hand, XML you write definitely more code. It's a Android modern toolkit for building native UI. It stands for Extendable Markup Language. It is powerful. It is lightweight. On the other hand, XML is lightweight. Jetpack is uses declarative API, means you need to describe your UI. It's non-declarative UI API, so you don't need to you know define your UI. Gives flexibility to implement the design you want, lacks flexibility. So accelerate development with interoperability and takes more time in development. Basis of Jetpack Compose. So what are these are the main basics of Jetpack Compose that used by Jetpack Compose. First is composable functions. In Jetpack Compose, UI components like buttons, text, or images are created using functions. So, like the in XML, you have to drag and drop the views and buttons and images, or you just write the code for it. But in Jetpack Compose, these functions are called like composable functions, and you can do these things by defining the composable functions, and definitely it can be reusable. Declarative UI, you define what the UI should look like, not how to update it. So if the data or status changes, Compose will automatically render the relevant part of the UI. So you don't need to worry about the change screen. If the data has been changed, it will automatically change the UI as well for you. Also, it's Kotlin based. Jetpack Compose is fully written in Kotlin, so making it more powerful and easy to integrate with the rest of the app logic. So I will share a small piece of code as well. Okay, so this is a simple composable function. So the function takes as a parameter and display as a text composable. So this is a composable function. It's just displaying the text, like it just take input from user. Like when you call greeting John, you pass John in this function, and it will display like hello John. So this is like a generic function. So for example, if I pass my name Rahat, it will display hello Rahat. Okay, so this is this is done by Kotlin. So you have to define your UI in the Kotlin, not in the XML files. So this is all from this video, and in my next video I will explain how to set up your Android Studio, and how you implement the Jetpack Compose, and like how to make the simple application on your Android Studio using the Jetpack Compose. So stay tuned with us, and like, share, and subscribe for more informative videos, so that we can make new informative videos about the Android Studio and other computer science topics. Thank you so much.